Dr. Amelia Cross brushed frost off the viewfinder of her team's rover, staring at the gaping fissure in Europa's ice sheet. Beneath layers of frost and shadowed glacial formations, the sensors had detected something impossible, a structure. Not just any structure, but one made of alloys that couldn't have formed naturally and predating recorded human history. Amelia's pulse quickened. She had spent her career chasing whispers of a lost epoch of human advancement, but nothing had prepared her for this. The rover's arm extended, drilling a narrow path through the ice to collect samples. As the machinery hummed, her assistant, Vikram, handed her a datapad. "Preliminary scans," he said, his breath misting in the cold atmosphere. "Definitely metal, and we're picking up faint energy signatures below. It's huge." "Define huge," Amelia said, her eyes never leaving the fissure. Vikram hesitated. The scanner stopped measuring. "It's off the charts." Amelia's gaze flicked to him, a mixture of apprehension and exhilaration bubbling in her chest. "Send in the drones. I want visuals before we drill any deeper." Moments later, a pair of spherical drones descended into the crevice, their lights illuminating jagged walls of ice. The video feed flickered as the drones maneuvered downward. Then the wall widened, revealing the edge of a massive, dark structure. Its surface shimmered faintly as if absorbing the light, and etched across its length were strange symbols. Amelia leaned closer to the screen. "Magnify." The glyphs were unmistakably human, written in an ancient language long forgotten. Amelia's mind raced, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Who had built this? And why here, buried beneath miles of ice on a moon humanity had only started exploring a century ago? Dr. Cross, one of the engineers, called out. "The energy signature just spiked. Something's moving down there." The video feed jerked as one of the drones abruptly lost power, tumbling into the abyss. The second drone, still functional, tilted its camera just in time to capture a momentary flash, a massive, humanoid shape stirring in the darkness. "Pull it back," Amelia barked, her voice sharp. The remaining drone obeyed, retracting quickly toward the surface, but not before capturing a clearer image, a colossal humanoid figure encased in thick plating, its chest faintly glowing with an unearthly blue light. Amelia's heart pounded. She had always believed humanity's history was older than the textbooks claimed, but this was proof. Not just of forgotten technology, but of a lost civilization capable of creating something unimaginable. "Dr. Cross," Vikram interrupted, his voice trembling. "We're picking up a signal. It's broadcasting. Everywhere." The base's comms lit up with static, followed by a low resonant hum that sent vibrations through the rover. Words emerged, faint and distorted, in a language no one recognized. Then, as abruptly as it started, the signal ceased. Back on Earth, a deep space observatory picked up the same broadcast, its instruments locking onto a faint ripple in the void. Thousands of kilometers away, the Korath collective fleet adjusted course, its lead ship transmitting a single chilling message. "Target acquired. Humanity's reckoning begins. Part 1. Beneath Europa's ice." Dr. Amelia Cross brushed frost off the viewfinder of her team's rover, staring at the gaping fissure in Europa's ice sheet. Beneath layers of frost and shadowed glacial formations, the sensors had detected something impossible, a structure. Not just any structure, but one made of alloys that couldn't have formed naturally and predating recorded human history. Amelia's pulse quickened. She had spent her career chasing whispers of a lost epoch of human advancement, but nothing had prepared her for this. The rover's arm extended, drilling a narrow path through the ice to collect samples. As the machinery hummed, her assistant, Vikram, handed her a datapad. "Preliminary scans," he said, his breath misting in the cold atmosphere. "Definitely metal, and we're picking up faint energy signatures below. It's huge." "Define huge," Amelia said, her eyes never leaving the fissure. Vikram hesitated. The scanner stopped measuring. "It's off the charts." Amelia's gaze flicked to him, a mixture of apprehension and exhilaration bubbling in her chest. "Send in the drones. I want visuals before we drill any deeper." Moments later, a pair of spherical drones descended into the crevice, their lights illuminating jagged walls of ice. The video feed flickered as the drones maneuvered downward. Then the wall widened, revealing the edge of a massive, dark structure. Its surface shimmered faintly as if absorbing the light, and etched across its length were strange symbols. Amelia leaned closer to the screen. "Magnify." The glyphs were unmistakably human, written in an ancient language long forgotten. Amelia's mind raced, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Who had built this? And why here, buried beneath miles of ice on a moon humanity had only started exploring a century ago? Dr. Cross, one of the engineers, called out. The energy signature just spiked. "Something's moving down there." The video feed jerked as one of the drones abruptly lost power, tumbling into the abyss. The second drone, still functional, tilted its camera just in time to capture a momentary flash, a massive humanoid shape stirring in the darkness. "Pull it back," Amelia barked, her voice sharp. The remaining drone obeyed, retracting quickly toward the surface, but not before capturing a clearer image. A colossal humanoid figure, encased in thick plating, its chest faintly glowing with an unearthly blue light. Amelia's heart pounded. She had always believed humanity's history was older than the textbooks claimed, but this was proof. Not just of forgotten technology, but of a lost civilization capable of creating something unimaginable. "Dr. Cross," Vikram interrupted, his voice trembling. "We're picking up a signal. It's broadcasting. Everywhere." The base's comms lit up with static, followed by a low, resonant hum that sent vibrations through the rover. Words emerged, faint and distorted, in a language no one recognized. Then, as abruptly as it started, the signal ceased. Back on Earth, a deep space observatory picked up the same broadcast, its instruments locking onto a faint ripple in the void. Thousands of kilometers away, the Korath collective fleet adjusted course, its lead ship transmitting a single chilling message. "Target acquired. Humanity's reckoning begins." Amelia Cross sat in stunned silence as the rover systems hummed with activity. The mysterious signal had faded, but its impact lingered in the air, heavy and foreboding. She replayed the garbled transmission again, listening for anything her subconscious might catch. The words were alien yet eerily human, like a ghostly echo from a forgotten past. "We need to secure this site," she said, snapping out of her daze. "Vikram, deploy the containment field. Nobody gets in or out without my authorization." Vikram's face was pale, but he nodded. "Understood. But Dr. Cross, what if whatever's down there isn't dormant anymore?" Amelia hesitated, her instincts warning her that Vikram was right. The Titan, or whatever the Colossus was, had moved. It was alive in some way. "Then we document everything," she replied firmly, "and prepare for the worst." Before she could say more, an alert blared from the comm station. Amelia rushed to the console, where one of the engineers frantically gestured to the screen. "Dr. Cross, we're receiving a priority signal from Earth. It's strange. Interference in the transmission, like the one we just picked up." The feed stabilized, revealing Admiral Victor Haynes of the Unified Space Command. His normally composed face was shadowed with tension. "Dr. Cross, this is Admiral Haynes. Your excavation has triggered a massive energy pulse detectable across the solar system. We've confirmed hostile activity near Mars and the asteroid belt. The Korath Collective has altered their trajectory. They're heading toward our colonies and likely Earth itself." Amelia's breath hitched. The Korath Collective, the galaxy's most feared warlords, had been humanity's looming shadow for decades. They rarely left their corner of space, but when they did, it was for conquest. "Admiral, with all due respect," Amelia said, forcing her voice to remain steady, "what does this have to do with us? We've barely scratched the surface of this site." Haynes leaned forward, his expression grim. "We'd intercepted fragments of Korath transmissions. They've identified the source of the signal your team activated. Whatever you found down there, Dr. Cross, the Korath want it, and they'll stop at nothing to claim it." The weight of his words sank in. "They know about the Titan." "Titan?" Haynes asked, narrowing his eyes. "It's what we're calling it," she said. "A massive humanoid machine buried under Europa. The energy pulse we detected might have come from its core. We suspect it's ancient, human, maybe." Haynes' jaw tightened. "If the Korath think this Titan poses a threat, it might be the only leverage we have. I'm dispatching a fleet to secure Europa. You need to buy us time." The transmission cut out, leaving Amelia staring at the blank screen. The weight of the situation pressed down on her as the base shuddered. "Status update," she demanded. One of the technicians answered, his voice panicked. "New energy surge, Doctor. The Titan's core is lighting up again." Through the drone feed, they saw the giant's chest glow brighter, radiating a blue pulse that spread across Europa's icy surface. Then the ground shook violently, cracks forming in the glacial field. "Seismic activity increasing," Vikram said, gripping the console. "If this continues, the entire ice sheet could collapse." Amelia's mind raced. "Get everyone to safety, but leave the drones in place. We need every bit of data on this." As the team scrambled, Amelia lingered near the drone console, transfixed by the image of the Titan. Its form was unmistakably humanoid, yet impossibly large. Suddenly, the glow dimmed, and a low, resonant hum emanated from the machine. A voice, clearer now, spoke in the same strange language. But this time, the comm system translated parts of it. "Guardians, rise. The war is not over." Before Amelia could process the message, alarms blare again. The base's external sensors detected incoming vessels, 2 Korath ships, sleek and menacing, descending toward Europa's surface. "Doctor," Vikram shouted, "we've got company." Amelia's blood ran cold as the realization hit. They were no longer excavating a relic of the past. They had stumbled into the heart of a war older than humanity's memory, and it was waking up to meet them. Amelia's voice was firm over the chaos of the base. "Evacuate non-essential personnel to the secondary rover. We hold this position until we know what the Korath are after." The team scrambled, packing up what equipment they could while leaving the drones and critical scanners active. The seismic activity had calmed, but the air was thick with tension as the first Korath ship pierced Europa's sky. It was angular, black, and bristling with weaponry, its ominous hum reverberating through the ice. Amelia stared at the Titan's still form on the screen. "We're sitting ducks unless we figure out how to activate this thing. It's our only chance." Vikram hurried to her side, holding a tablet displaying a hastily compiled translation matrix. "The inscriptions we found, it's a mix of ancient Earth languages, but I think I've cracked part of it. There's a phrase that keeps repeating, 'Anchor required.'" "Anchor?" Amelia frowned. "What does that mean?" Before Vikram could answer, a deafening boom echoed across the ice as the Korath ship fired a warning shot, its plasma cannon melting a nearby ridge. "We don't have time for guesses," Amelia snapped. "If the Titan needs an anchor, then let's find one. Run a scan for genetic compatibility. This thing is human-made, so it must be looking for something in us." Vikram hesitated. "Doctor, what if it's you?" Amelia froze. The thought hadn't crossed her mind, but it made sense. She had always been drawn to ancient artifacts, her uncanny instincts guiding her to discoveries no one else could explain. Could she be connected to this forgotten era? "Run the scan," she said, her voice low. As Vikram set up the equipment, the Titan on the screen flickered again. Its chest emitted a faint glow, pulsing in time with Amelia's quickening heartbeat. The Korath ship fired another shot, this one closer, shaking the base violently. "Dr. Cross," Vikram called out, urgency in his tone. "The scan is complete. It's you. You're a genetic match." Amelia stared at him, disbelief warring with a strange sense of inevitability. "What do I do?" Vikram gestured to the console. "There's a neural interface built into the Titan's core chamber. If you can reach it, you might be able to activate it manually." Another explosion rocked the base, and Amelia made her decision. "Cover me," she said, grabbing a thermal suit and heading for the fissure. "Are you insane?" Vikram shouted. "The Korath are right above us." "They're here for this Titan, not us," Amelia replied. "If we don't wake it up, we're all dead anyway." With that, she descended into the icy crevasse, guided by the drone's lights and the faint blue glow of the Titan's chest. The closer she got, the more she felt an inexplicable pull, like the machine was calling out to her. Above, the Korath ship deployed troops, sleek, insectoid creatures with organic armor and plasma rifles. They moved with terrifying precision, closing in on the base. "Dr. Cross, you need to hurry." Vikram's voice crackled through her comms. Amelia reached the Titan's chest, where a circular panel slid open, revealing a pulsing interface. The alien language on its surface shifted into recognizable words. "Anchor identified. Synchronization required." She hesitated only for a moment before placing her hand on the interface. A surge of energy coursed through her, and the Titan's eyes flared to life, casting a brilliant blue light through the crevasse. "Synchronization complete." A deep, resonant voice echoed in her mind. "Prometheus awakens." The ground trembled as the Titan's massive form began to move, ice cracking and falling away from its body. Amelia's vision blurred as her mind fused with the machine, memories flooding her consciousness, ancient battles, humanity's triumphs and betrayals, and the terrible war that had buried Prometheus in the first place. Above, the Korath troops froze as the Titan's colossal arm emerged from the ice. With a single deafening roar, Prometheus rose to its feet, casting a shadow over the invaders. Amelia felt the machine's power coursing through her. It wasn't just a weapon. It was a protector, a sentinel forged in humanity's darkest hour. And now it was hers to command. The Korath hesitated only briefly before opening fire, but Prometheus responded with devastating precision, raising an energy shield that absorbed the plasma bolts. Amelia's voice, amplified through the Titan systems, rang out across the battlefield. "You came for the Titan. Now face it." Prometheus stood tall amidst the fractured ice, a towering sentinel of metal and light. Its glowing blue eyes scanned the battlefield, its energy core thrumming like a heartbeat. Amelia's mind buzzed with the machine's consciousness, her thoughts interwoven with its ancient directives. The connection was both overwhelming and strangely intuitive, as though Prometheus had been waiting for her all along. The Korath warriors recovered from their initial shock and opened fire in unison. Plasma bolts rained down on Prometheus, sizzling against the Titan's energy shield, which shimmered like rippling water under the barrage. Amelia gritted her teeth, feeling each impact like a distant ache. Deflect, she thought instinctively, and Prometheus obeyed. Its shield expanded outward in a dome of raw energy, sending the plasma bolts ricocheting in all directions. Several Korath troops were caught in the backlash, their organic armor disintegrating as they fell. "Dr. Cross." Vikram's voice crackled over her comm. "What's happening? Are you okay?" Amelia's voice came through calm but resolute. "Prometheus is active. I'm linked with it, but it's not fully operational. I need time to figure this out." "Time isn't something we have." Vikram yelled. "More Korath ships are entering Europa's orbit. They'll deploy reinforcements any minute now." Amelia turned her attention to Prometheus' arm, willing it to raise. The Titan responded, its massive hand opening to reveal an energy lance. a brilliant spear of light that hummed with contained power. The Korath advanced, their formations tightening. They deployed siege walkers, crab-like machines that fired concentrated plasma beams capable of cutting through glaciers. One beam struck Prometheus square in the chest, pushing it back a step and sending vibrations through Amelia's body. "Focus," she whispered, her breath fogging in the freezing air. "We've got this." Prometheus retaliated, its energy lance slicing through the lid walker in a single fluid motion. The machine exploded in a fiery burst, its molten debris melting the ice beneath it. Amelia felt a surge of exhilaration. For all their technological superiority, the Korath were not invincible. But as more enemy reinforcements arrived, she realized the battle couldn't be won with brute force alone. Prometheus's power reserves were dwindling, its systems flashing warnings in her mind. Think, Amelia muttered. She delved deeper into the Titan's interface, searching for answers. Prometheus responded by flooding her with fragmented memories, visions of other Titans, battles fought across the stars, and something called the Titan Network. "Vikram," she called over the comm. "There are others, Titans like Prometheus. It's trying to connect with them, but the signal is blocked. Can you locate the source?" Vikram's voice was hurried. "I'll try, just hold them off a little longer." Prometheus's energy lance retracted as the Titan switched tactics, raising its shield to absorb another wave of plasma fire. The Korath adjusted, targeting the ice beneath Prometheus's feet to destabilize its footing. The ground quaked, and Amelia felt a moment of panic as the Titan began to sink. No, she thought, willing the machine to leap. Prometheus complied, launching itself skyward in a gravity-defying leap that sent shards of ice flying in all directions. It landed behind the enemy line, crushing several troops underfoot. Amelia seized the opportunity. Prometheus slammed its fists into the ice, sending a shockwave rippling outward. The Korath formations crumbled, their walkers toppling as cracks spiderwebbed across the battlefield. "Doctor!" Vikram's voice broke through. "I found something. A Titan on Titan's moon, Hyperion. Its systems are dormant, but I can trigger a remote activation. If Prometheus can establish a link, we might stand a chance." Amelia didn't hesitate. "Do it." Prometheus's core pulsed brighter as it attempted to connect to the Titan network. The Korath forces began to retreat, clearly sensing the shift in power. Amelia felt the connection snap into place like a bolt of lightning, a distant but undeniable presence awakening far away. The Korath commander, watching from orbit, snarled in frustration. "Deploy the biomechs," it ordered. "This ends now." Amelia barely had time to celebrate as a new threat emerged. Towering biomechanical monstrosities, blending Korath technology with organic horrors. Their arrival turned the tide once more, and Amelia realized that awakening another Titan might be their only hope of survival. With Prometheus's power flickering, she whispered under her breath, "Hold on just a little longer." The biomechs thundered across Europa's ice field, their massive, grotesque forms pulsating with a blend of organic tissue and sleek metal. Towering above the Korath infantry, they were clearly designed for one purpose: to destroy anything in their path. Prometheus, battered and dimming, stood between them and the human excavation team. Amelia felt the Titan strain as its systems flickered warnings through their neural link. She clenched her fists, willing Prometheus to stand firm. "Come on," she muttered. "We can't fall now." The first biomech charged, its arms morphing into scythe-like blades as it lunged at Prometheus. Amelia responded instinctively, commanding the Titan to sidestep and counter with its energy lance. The lance ignited, slicing through the biomech's arm with a screeching hiss. The creature staggered but retaliated, its remaining arm smashing into Prometheus's shield. "Dr. Cross." Vikram's voice cut through the chaos. "Hyperion systems are booting up, but it needs a stronger signal. I'm amplifying Prometheus's core output. Get ready for a surge. Before Amelia could respond, a jolt of energy coursed through her. Prometheus's core flared brilliantly, and the Titan network link solidified. She felt Hyperion awaken, its dormant systems roaring to life. Across the icy void of Titan's moon, another colossus stirred, its golden eyes blazing like twin suns. Hyperion online, Prometheus's deep voice intoned in her mind. Amelia barely had time to register the connection before the biomechs attacked in unison. One launched a volley of plasma spikes from its back, while another leaped forward with shocking speed. Prometheus blocked the projectiles, but the second biomech's strike knocked it off balance, sending Amelia reeling inside the neural link. "Hold on," she shouted, forcing Prometheus to rise. The Titan's lance whirred to life again, extending into a dual-bladed weapon. With a sweeping motion, Prometheus cleaved through the nearest biomech, its ichor spilling across the ice in steaming pools. Meanwhile, Hyperion's presence grew stronger in her mind. She could sense its systems aligning with Prometheus, their shared energy forming a symbiotic bond. A moment later, a massive comms burst lit up her interface, and Hyperion's voice joined the fray. "Prometheus, Amelia Cross. Coordinates received. Engaging." On Titan's moon, Hyperion rose, its golden form gleaming against the methane haze. It launched itself into orbit with a burst of energy, its colossal figure streaking toward Europa like a shooting star. The Korath fleet detected Hyperion's approach and scrambled to intercept it, deploying swarms of fighters. Amelia watched through Prometheus's sensors as Hyperion's massive arms unfolded into energy cannons, unleashing devastating beams that obliterated the smaller ships. But the biomechs on Europa were relentless. The largest of the creatures, a towering monstrosity with 4 arms and spiked armor, roared as it charged Prometheus, slamming into the Titan with enough force to crack the ice below. Prometheus stumbled, its shield flickering dangerously. Amelia gasped, struggling to maintain the neural link. "Hyperion, we need backup." "Hold position," Hyperion's voice replied. "Engaging in 30 seconds." Amelia gritted her teeth, forcing Prometheus to stand tall. 30 seconds is a lifetime out here. The 4-armed biomech raised its massive fists for a finishing blow, but Prometheus countered with a surge of energy, driving its lance upward into the creature's torso. The biomech shrieked, its limbs spasming as it collapsed in a heap of steaming metal and flesh. Just as the remaining biomechs closed in, the sky above Europa split open with golden light. Hyperion descended like a meteor, landing with a thunderous impact that sent shockwaves across the battlefield. The new Titan wasted no time, firing precise energy blasts that ripped through the remaining biomechs. The Korath troops began retreating, their once fearless advance shattered by the united Titans. Amelia slumped in relief, feeling the weight of Prometheus's exhaustion. Hyperion turned toward Prometheus, its golden eyes locking with the blue. Through their shared link, Amelia sensed something deeper: recognition, camaraderie, and a hint of sadness. "Prometheus," Hyperion said, its voice resonating with age and power. "The Guardians are awakening, but the war is far from over." Amelia, still connected to Prometheus, spoke aloud. "Then let's finish what you started." Above them, the Korath fleet began regrouping, deploying larger ships bristling with weapons. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, humanity had Titans at its side, and the spark of hope was enough to ignite the fight anew. The battlefield was a mix of carnage and silence as Hyperion and Prometheus stood side by side, their massive forms casting long shadows over the cracked and steaming ice. Though the immediate threat of the biomechs had been quelled, the Korath fleet above Europa's sky was a looming reminder that the fight was far from over. Amelia steadied her breathing, her consciousness still entwined with Prometheus. The Titan systems hummed in recovery mode, but its energy reserves were dangerously low. Across their shared neural link, she could feel Hyperion's presence, a commanding, ancient force, yet strangely empathetic. Hyperion. Amelia spoke through the connection, her voice projected by Prometheus. There are more Titans, aren't there? How many of you are out there? Hyperion's golden eyes glowed brighter as its deep voice reverberated across the frozen expanse. The Guardians were many, once. Scattered across the stars, buried beneath the ashes of war, only a handful remain. But the Korath know this, and they seek to destroy us before we rise again. Amelia's heart sank. If the Korath destroy you, humanity has no chance. Vikram's voice broke over the calm, jolting her from the moment. Dr. Cross, we've got a serious problem. The Korath fleet is positioning for an orbital strike. They're targeting both Titans and our base. Amelia's stomach tightened. How much time do we have? Minutes maybe, Vikram replied. They're deploying planetary disruptors. If they fire, the surface will be obliterated. Amelia closed her eyes, focusing on the neural link. Prometheus responded, sending waves of tactical data to her mind. She could see the Korath ships aligning above them, their energy signatures spiking. We have to go on the offensive, she said, addressing both Hyperion and Vikram. We can't just wait for them to destroy us. Hyperion's voice carried a grave weight. Prometheus is weak. Hyperion alone cannot withstand the fleet. A beacon must be activated to summon the others. Amelia frowned. What beacon? Hyperion raised its massive arm, pointing toward the horizon. Europa houses a central hub, an ancient relay. It was designed to awaken dormant Titans across the system. But it is heavily shielded, and time is not on our side. Prometheus's voice, weaker but resolute, echoed in her mind. The relay can turn the tide. Amelia knew the choice before her. Activating the relay was their best shot at survival, but it meant splitting their forces and leaving the excavation base vulnerable. She turned to Vikram over the comm. Prepare for evacuation. Take the team to the secondary rover and get as far from the base as you can. Vikram protested. What about you? What about the Titans? We'll draw their fire, she said firmly. Hyperion and I will head to the relay. The Korath fleet began its assault, sending streaks of plasma raining down on the surface. Hyperion moved first, its golden frame a blur as it intercepted the blasts with its energy shields. Prometheus followed, slower but determined, shielding Amelia's base from the onslaught. Amelia felt the strain through the neural link, every impact like a blow to her own body. Hyperion, lead the way. The Golden Titan launched into motion, carving a path through the ice toward the distant relay. Prometheus followed, holding off the Korath forces as they advanced. The enemy fighters swarmed, their sleek forms weaving between plasma fire and energy blasts. Amelia directed Prometheus to fire its lance, a brilliant arc of energy slicing through several ships. But the Titan's reserves were running critically low. Vikram, Amelia called, her voice strained. We need that relay active now. We're tracking your position, Vikram replied, but the relay's location is buried beneath an ice shelf. If the Titans can't open it, we're out of options. Hyperion reached the relay first, stopping before a massive structure encased in ice and rock. Its golden eyes scanned the surface, then it plunged its massive fists into the ground, sending tremors through the ice. Amelia felt the link between the Titans grow stronger as Prometheus approached, joining Hyperion in striking the frozen surface. The ground shook violently, and cracks spiderwebbed outward. Almost there, Amelia muttered. Above them, the Korath flagship descended, its weapons primed. Amelia felt a surge of dread. They weren't going to wait for the Titans to open the relay. They were going to annihilate them first. Hyperion, Amelia urged, we have to move faster. With a deafening roar, the ice finally gave way, revealing the relay, a monolithic spire glowing faintly with ancient energy. Prometheus staggered but extended its arm, connecting with the structure. The Titan network surged to life, sending a pulse of light into the sky. In the distance, faint signals began to respond, dormant Titans across the system stirring as they received the call. The Korath fleet hesitated, their movements faltering as a new threat loomed on the horizon. Amelia smiled grimly, her voice echoing through Prometheus. "Now it's our turn." The Korath fleet hesitated, the pulse from the relay echoing through space as dormant Titans stirred across the system, drawn to the ancient signal. The sky above Europa was alive with a growing energy, rippling with the force of 1,000 years of dormant power awakening. Amelia could feel it through the neural link. Prometheus and Hyperion were not alone anymore. Their call had reached the farthest corners of humanity's forgotten empire. The Korath flagship hovered ominously above the relay site, its massive form casting a dark shadow over the ice. It fired a burst of concentrated plasma, a deadly stream aimed directly at Prometheus. "Brace," Amelia shouted, her heart racing as the blast closed in. Prometheus's energy shield flared to life, absorbing the plasma in a brilliant burst. The Titan's knees buckled under the impact, but it remained standing. Amelia's pulse quickened as the Korath ships began to regroup, closing in from every direction. "We don't have much time," she murmured. "Hyperion, can you take out their flagship?" The Golden Titan's voice was unwavering. "I will lead the charge. Stay close to the relay." Hyperion charged, its massive feet pounding against the ice as it leaped into the air, hurling itself toward the Korath flagship. The flagship attempted to evade, but Hyperion's energy blasts tore through the atmosphere, striking the ship's hull with explosive force. The Korath flagship shook violently, a cloud of debris and plasma erupting from its engines. "Prometheus, fire now," Amelia commanded. Prometheus obeyed, its massive arm rising with a surge of energy. The Titan's energy lance crackled to life, sending a focused beam of devastating light at the Korath flagship. The beam tore through the ship's defenses, creating a gaping hole in its midsection. The flagship faltered in the sky, slowly listing to one side, its shield flickering as the last of its protective systems failed. "Direct hit," Vikram's voice rang through the comms. "The flagship is down, but more are inbound. There's still a full Korath fleet heading your way." Amelia didn't flinch. "Hold on, Vikram. We need to finish this now." She felt the presence of other Titans now, a growing collective consciousness of ancient beings, their minds merging with Prometheus and Hyperion in a coordinated, tactical bond. Across the system, the beacons had awakened something powerful, a network of humanity's lost protectors. In the distance, the first signs of their arrival began to show. A massive crimson Titan dropped from orbit like a meteor, followed by several smaller, but no less imposing figures. The Korath fleet continued its assault, but now they were facing not just one or two Titans, but a growing army. Hyperion was the first to respond. With a thunderous roar, it charged back into the fray, meeting the Korath fighters head-on, its golden energy blasts disintegrating smaller ships with every strike. Prometheus followed suit, using its remaining energy to fire in calculated bursts, picking off enemy vessels one by one. The Korath were overwhelmed by the sheer power and speed of the Titans. Amelia's mind buzzed with the connection to the newly awakened Titans. She felt their thoughts, their strategies, and their unyielding determination. These were not just machines, they were guardians of a past humanity had long forgotten, designed to protect the species from any threat, no matter how great. Through the connection, one Titan, an immense, armored figure with blue, glowing eyes, spoke. "Prometheus, we are with you. It is time to end this war." Amelia's heart surged. The collective power of the Titans was now overwhelming the Korath fleet. Their plasma weapons were no match for the Titans' shields, and their fighters were falling faster than they could be deployed. But the Korath commander, watching from orbit, was not one to surrender easily. It was clear they had one last move, a catastrophic weapon, far more powerful than anything they had deployed before. The Korath flagship, now crippled and burning, launched one final missile, something that could destroy the entire moon and everyone on it. "Amelia, look out," Vikram warned. "It's a planetary disruptor, targeting the relay." The missile hurtled toward the relay, its descent unstoppable. Amelia's mind raced. She felt Prometheus's power surge, Hyperion's form nearing the relay. She knew there was only one way to stop it. "Hyperion, intercept the missile," Amelia commanded, her voice trembling with urgency. The Golden Titan responded without hesitation. In a flash of light, it collided with the missile midair, its energy shields absorbing the impact. The explosion was deafening. Amelia felt the blast wave hit Prometheus, but her Titan held firm, its massive frame shielding her from the worst of the destruction. Hyperion plummeted to the ground, the force of the explosion knocking it unconscious. For a moment, there was silence. The relay hummed, its energy pulse steady as the last remnants of the Korath fleet scattered. The war, it seemed, was finally over. The smoke cleared and silence descended upon the frozen battlefield of Europa. The Korath fleet, once a powerful force poised to wipe humanity from existence, was in ruins. The relay, though damaged, stood strong, its ancient lights still pulsing with life. The Titans, guardians of a forgotten age, had achieved what was once thought impossible. Amelia stood within Prometheus's cockpit, her hands shaking slightly as she processed the victory. Hyperion lay several meters away, its golden form unmoving but intact, its energy signature faint but steady. The other Titans, though scattered across the system, were still linked through the network, and their presence lingered in the back of her mind like a comforting hum. "We did it," she whispered, though the words felt small in the face of what had just transpired. Vikram's voice crackled over the comm. "Dr. Cross, we've finished the evacuation. We're safe. The Korath are retreating." Amelia's heart skipped. "What about the relay?" "It's holding. For now," Vikram replied, his tone tight. "But we need to stabilize the systems, or we won't be able to maintain the connection to the Titans." Amelia's thoughts swirled as she processed the enormity of their victory and the challenges that lay ahead. The Korath were gone for now, but their defeat didn't mean the end of the struggle. With the Titans awakening, humanity's future was inextricably tied to these ancient protectors, and their purpose? That was still unclear. "Hyperion will be fine," Amelia said aloud, her fingers tracing the controls that would lift Prometheus's massive form. "We've got work to do." As she began the process of reviving Hyperion, a new wave of understanding washed over her. She felt the shared bond with the other Titans deepen, their memories and knowledge now flooding into her consciousness. The ancient civilizations that had created them, the wars they had fought, and the people they had protected, all of it became clear. They had been the last line of defense, and now, humanity was once again part of something much larger than itself. But even in the afterglow of victory, there were questions that remained unanswered. The Titans had been scattered, their creators lost to time. The Korath had sought to destroy them, but who or what had created these ancient machines in the first place? What was their true purpose? Hyperion stirred, its golden eyes flickering to life. Slowly, the Titan's colossal form rose to its feet, its movements stiff but deliberate. The moment was heavy with both triumph and uncertainty. Amelia opened a direct comm link to Hyperion. "Can you hear me?" The response was a rumbling voice, ancient and resonant. "I hear you, Amelia Cross." There was a pause before it continued, its words laden with weight. "The Titans were built for a purpose beyond what you have yet to comprehend. You have freed us, but there is much more to be done." Amelia's chest tightened. "What do you mean?" "The war with the Korath was merely a shadow of what lies ahead. There are others who would seek to reclaim the Titans for their own use, and darker forces that would undo everything you have just fought for. A chill ran down Amelia's spine as Hyperion's words echoed in her mind. The battle with the Korath had been a monumental victory, but it was clear now that it was just the beginning. There were more enemies, more dangers on the horizon, and the Titans. Those who had once been humanity's protectors were still the key to their survival. Amelia exhaled slowly, her gaze turning toward the horizon. The war was over for now, but the fight was far from finished. She could feel the weight of the responsibility pressing upon her shoulders, but it was a weight she was willing to bear. "We'll be ready," she said, her voice steady, resolute. "Whatever comes next." Hyperion's voice softened, a touch of ancient wisdom in its tone. "You will not be alone. The Titans will rise once again, and humanity's future will be shaped by those who dare to awaken the past." And as the relay continued to pulse with ancient energy, a new chapter for both humanity and the Titans began. The war had been won, but the true struggle for the future was only just beginning.